Working at the 103, we've been incredibly fortunate to have a secret tool. Anzac, a simple black Labrador, has allowed us to have conversations at an air wing with men and women in uniform that we would never be able to have if it wasn't for him.
It breaks barriers. We can start a conversation with the person with the dog so much more easily than without.
The work you do to build up the resiliency of our young airmen is just absolutely important. This is just really another great tool that gives us better reach. The work that you do gives them the tools to be more articulate, to be able to address their problems, to recognize when one of their fellow airmen or student flight are having problems, and to kind of be able to help them navigate and go to where they need help. So I see it as just giving our airmen a better chance at success.
Anzac changes the conversation of mental health. We have experienced conversations with the young men and women at the 103 that can be really complicated, talking about PTSD, talking about mental health challenges, talking about suicide. We find the young men and women will talk to the dog. So Anzac becomes this unlicensed therapist, for want of a better word, but he allows us to have a conversation from a behavioural health perspective that perhaps we wouldn't be able to have if it wasn't for him. He breaks the ice, he breaks the nexus of stigma.
You know, doing a lot of the work before they are permanently impacted is so valuable.
We need to create an environment where it's easy to have these conversations, and sometimes the easiest place is outside the mess hall with a ball and a dog.
The biggest issues, in my opinion, the young men are facing in today would be being able to truly and honestly express how they're feeling and what emotions they're going through as they're going through them with peers of the same age groups.
So by working with the East Granby Middle School, we began to pull apart what resilience actually is.
They embraced us with open arms and said, yes, we need this for our children, and trusted us to do that for an hour with every single student and every single staff member for an entire year. That's remarkable.
What I really picked up on was anybody from a service background most definitely stands up in the eyes of the young emerging community, as it's most definitely a very noble direction of occupation.
If our end goal is to tackle veteran mental health, some of the kids in the room are going to become veterans someday. So having that modeled by the reservists, I think, is really important.
So to see an actual serviceman or woman come into our program was such a powerful thing, because once again, as you have someone to kind of stand up as a role model, but not just that, but to see someone from such a kind of strong and, in a sense, upheld kind of background being able to sit down with the children and really get to spend time with them and really make a difference in the experience that they were having there through being individuals rather than just the uniform that we so often see.
That offers the men and women in our service an understanding that they are more than just a uniform, that then when they return to our communities, they have more to offer than just the one job they signed on to do. It gives them value, it gives them worth, and it helps our young children to recognise that we are all multifaceted. Just because we wear a uniform doesn't mean we don't feel.
It's magical. And when they see what happens from that, I think then it reinforces the decision that they made. So now the high school, yes, we need to continue this because our 8th graders just finished a year of it and we can't let it stop, right? So once you start this and you see the impact it has, you can't stop. You gotta keep going. And yeah, I hope more schools take a look at that and say, our kids need that too, and are brave enough to implement it and find the time.